NESS.com, higherconsciousness.com, and it's your reluctant mystic, Elaine Bartlett. Okay, so here's one other tidbit that I want to share because I loved this story. Well, I loved it and I didn't love it. I have a friend and his name is Michael. Michael is what I call a gentle giant. He's a very big guy. I mean, he must be 6'5", 6'7". He's a giant. He's a man among men. And he kind of walks around the world as if he's carrying the world on his shoulders. He's like got that disposition. And he's so impressive that way. And it's not a burden. He just carries life. And Michael is married to a dear friend of mine, and they live up in the Northeast. Michael walks through life cleverly disguised as a plumber. But I actually know better. This gentle giant is a nurturer and a lover of land and life. And as such, whenever he's not out plumbing, he goes and he attends to his gardens, and his garden could feed all of New York State, I'm quite convinced. But recently, last Christmas, he decided he wanted to raise bees. And so all the family members chipped in, and they got Michael all of the things that are necessary to become, I guess, a first-class beekeeper. You get a little starter kit called the hive, and then you get some bee frames, and the gear, the jacket, the gloves, the helmet. You get the honey extractor, your hot knife, a smoker, and, of course, the queen bee. And Michael was absolutely in his element, loving these bees, and grew the colony to 40,000 bees. Happy, happy, happy. Enough honey, gallons of honey, like I think 3 or 4 gallons of honey. And he was teaching his daughters the thrill of mastering this delicate art, and teaching his daughters the vital role of bees in our lives, and all about their pollination skills. And without the bees, we're not going to have much life on this planet. And particularly one of his daughters, Sarah, who seems to be following in this gentle giant's footsteps very easily, she was so attuned to this whole process. So recently they went out to kind of, I guess, I don't know what you do with bees on a daily basis, but tending to the bees. And they got to the hive, and neither one of them could speak. They didn't know what to do with themselves. 40,000 bees lay on the ground dead. They were heartsick. As the bees lay there, it turned to hopelessness, helplessness, frustration, rage. How could this happen? Well, they're in the process of trying to explore how it happened. Either the bees flew to another farm where they had been spraying pesticides and ingested that, or some of the pesticide from other farms blew into this territory. They're just not sure. But again, when you think of this, it really brings up the question, what are you doing? This was a whole colony, what they actually call in bee language, a colony collapse. And I thought to myself, a colony collapse? Are you kidding me? This is a human collapse. This is the collapse of our life. Without the bees, you and I ain't gonna be. So again, can you not see why I'm thinking give up your allegiance to a right wing or a left wing and learn to consciously be? And start asking and questioning, what are these pesticides doing? I was so delighted after our hurricane, well, actually during the hurricane that we had down here a couple of weeks ago, thinking, oh, thank goodness, some of the pesticide, the terribly toxic poison that was being spread in portions of South Florida to supposedly prevent Zika, which is completely fabricated. I thought, oh, good, the rains will wash it away. Only to hear earlier this week, well, they're back to spraying again. Of course, you can only question, so who's profiting from that? Who owns that spray? My, what a question. Ask the questions. Ask the questions. Don't make up your own answers. Research, dig, process it. This is going to be moving towards your liberation, your awakening. And this is correcting some of your thoughts, some of your narrowness of just being very content and ego-based with you're safe. You're not so safe when 40,000 bees just simply die. You're not safe at all. So now let's look at a little bit of Feng Shui in your business. How about that? Those of you who have a home business, let's address that first. Home businesses, because a lot of people now have a home business because they've lost their positions with places that were closed down. That's another topic worth exploring for yourself. So with a home business, try to carve out, if you can, at least a little space for yourself. If it must be in the bedroom because of limited space, you have to have it in a way that's not the first thing you see when you wake up in the morning and the last thing you see when you go to sleep at night. Because you'll never recover. You'll never have a way to restore yourself because business will be too much in your mind. So put it in a spot, even if it's in the computer and your desk. Cover your computer at night. Put a towel over it. You don't want to see that screen. Also, if it's in the master bedroom, it needs to be darn organized because I've said before on this show, your master bedroom is a place to get renewed and for love. That's the only thing you're supposed to be doing in the master bedroom. So if you can, take it out of the bedroom. And what's the best place in the house? The place that you can have the space for it. I mean, it's that simple. Some of you have to have it in the kitchen, but some of you actually can carve out a little bedroom. You know, you don't need to hold on to a bedroom for a child who's left the nest 10 years ago. You don't need to be holding that space for them. You can turn that into a wonderful office. If you can have your back against a wall, that's usually the strongest way to do it, if you can. It's nice to be able to see out a window, if you can. And again, the object of the game is less clutter, more productivity. So you don't want to have 4 projects going at one time. Finish one, get on to the next. And things that you've lost sight of 6 months ago, probably take time out, get to the bottom of it, throw it out. The frequency doesn't even work anymore for you. So do away with that. If you have a lot of equipment in the let's now suppose you actually have an office. If you have a lot of equipment that is no longer functional, let's suppose you've got several computers that they're old, but you don't want to throw them out, and you got to get them out of that room. You will think better as the room is lighter. If the room needs a coat of paint, paint it. If you want to have a good idea of what color to paint the room for yourself, then that's when you need to either call me at 321-806-3159 today, or email me privately, purpleportal777 at gmail.com. purpleportal777 at gmail.com, and I'll be happy to tell you what color to paint the office. But the object here is keep it fresh, keep it alive, keep things moving so that your business is moving and things aren't stagnant. One of the gals I know works a lot with crystals, and her office, she actually has 2 offices, one at home, but then she goes into an office daily. And there's a lot of quarrels in the office where she goes daily. So she managed to, initially, when she went into this office at another location, she didn't want to seem too obnoxious or anything, but she works a lot with crystals. So she brought some crystals in and placed them very innocuously on her desk at work. Well, recently, because of a lot of tension, and there's a lot of tension out there in the marketplace in every walk of life. So if you're feeling it, I have some suggestions. So recently, she's sitting at her desk at work, and actually, because she's so at one with the crystals, she actually heard the crystals say, "I'm out of here. This is too big a job for me. I want to go home." So she took the crystals home and sent me a text yesterday with what she replaced them with. Holy mackerel. These are big, big crystals that are now holding the frequency for an entire floor of the company she's working with. And I can only say to you, that is one lucky company. They should give her a raise just based on her ability to read energy and care enough to help steady it. If we each cared just a little bit more, you'd learn to hear the voice of the crystal. You'd learn to speak with the flower and the tree and the grass. You would learn to be my humble repairman who's coaxing a piece into the wall saying, "You know you belong here. It's okay. You come on now. Go on back in your home. You're going to be happy." And the thing obeys it. This is proper use of energy. This is what we've all been burned at the stake for talking about in other lifetimes. This is the thing that we're ridiculed for, dismissed for, poo-pooed about. And if that's your consciousness, so be it. I honor where you are. But you are missing so much you have no idea. Because when things start to speak with you and you understand it, your consciousness it's growing a brand new right wing and left wing, but wings that have nothing to do with the lower consciousness down here. And isn't that where you'd rather be? It's where I'd rather be. Why not? I mean, it's great to be here, but I'd rather be larger here. So in your office, look around. What do you see? Are you seeing... At one point, I had a big sign in my office that had pictures of dollar bills on it. You go into a restaurant or a new business sometimes and you see their first dollar bill or $5 bill or $25 bill on the wall. Well, there's a reason for that. It's helping them on a very, very little bit level to remember that this is a building process and we need money to run the ship properly and pay the bills and keep the lights on. So maybe it's a symbol of money. But if you have a symbol in your space that does not resonate right with you, if you have a picture of your ex mother-in-law and you didn't like her to begin with, it's time to take that picture down. If you have a picture